Welcome to Custom Built. My name's Garrett Neuman. You might be thinking, what are you doing surrounded by motorcycles? I gotta tell you, I love designing, building, and then riding bikes. There is nothing like putting a bike together, hopping on the highway, and then riding 2 fists in the air at 60 miles an hour. You've probably saw on the TV shows how people take raw steel and then they turn it into a shiny $50,000 custom motorcycle. The kind that you can hear before you see coming. For the next couple weeks, we're going to be talking about God's Word. See, Jesus taught in parables, or word pictures. What that means is he would tell people a story and then he would explain the meaning. If he was talking about a tree, he'd be standing by a tree. He was here, he might say, look at this bike. What do you see? Bottom line is, after this series, my prayer is that whenever you see a motorcycle go by, you'd think immediately about God's Word and how absolutely amazing it is. See guys, this Bible is like no other book. Most books have a cover, you've got a binding, they've got pages. Most books I like to read also have pictures. The Bible is so much more than just a book. It is literally God's Word. What he says to me and to you. Did you know the Bible took 1,500 years for God to write? All right guys, let's put that into perspective. The United States of America is about 250 years old. That means that the Bible took 6 times longer to write than America has been around as a country. Now that is a long time to write a book. Crazy thing is, even though the Bible is very, very old, it's also new every day. When I pick up the Bible and read it, I learn new things all the time. The more you know God's Word, the more God's Word will know you.
Hey, I'm Biker Bob, and you've got no excuses. Today we've got an excuse written by little Johnny from Omaha, Nebraska. His excuse is,
I don't like to read the Bible. Reading is boring.
all right, little Johnny Cupcake, deal with this. You have to read to live. If you want to make it out of middle school, you gotta read. Now here's the icing for you, little Cupcake. This book right here, the Bible, it's got hundreds of pages packed with real power. If you don't read it, then you're the one missing out. So dust it off, read it, and remember, you've got no excuse.
The Bible is a lot like a motorcycle. When you go down to a bike shop to buy a bike, you need to know that that bike was not made by just one person. There's a head builder who dreams up and designs the bike. Then he chooses what parts he'll build in his shop. Then he reads through a catalog of parts and orders what he needs from around the world. Many people work on a bike, but there is one head builder. He's the inspiration. He oversees the whole thing, making sure it's all put together just right. Our Bible, God's Word, was put together in a similar way. God is the head builder. He's the author of this book. Before the creation of the world, God knew what was going to be written. John 1:1 says it this way, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." God ordered parts of the Bible from 3 continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe. God inspired 66 different books, written by 40 different authors. And I mean, they were all kinds of different people. Some of them were kings, some of them were servants, some of them were poets, and some of them were fishermen. Moses was in the wilderness when he wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. David wrote his Psalms on a hillside as a shepherd boy. Then later, in a palace. To write about his son, Jesus, God chose 4 different people: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Paul, he even wrote part of the Bible while he was in prison. When I read the Bible, it's not just this big, boring book. Instead, I think it's exciting, like a reality TV show, all about God's relationship with people like you and like me. If you like music and poetry, it's in there. A whole book called Psalms located right in the middle of the Bible. If you like action, you need to read the Old Testament. It is full of stories of battles and warriors. If you like stories about changed lives, you need to read about Jesus in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. See guys, it's not so much about what part of the Bible that you read. It's important that you read the Bible because it's custom built for you.